Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everybody. Today I'm going to present my paper called Investigations of Direct Sunlight in Existing Classroom Design in Indonesia, Case Study Lok Semawe, by myself, Ataila, and this paper was constructed alongside with my supervisors from Engineering Physics Doctorate Program, Faculty of Industrial Technology, Institute of Technology Bandung, Indonesia. All right, without further ado, um, the investigations of a direct sunlight inside the school classroom in Indonesia is currently missing. However, daylight is significant for energy saving and building user performance as we have known it. And also, that the fact that is daylight in Loksmawe is abundantly available since Loksmawe is located in the coastal area of, uh, uh, of Indonesia. Furthermore, in Indonesia, there's no proper regulations for a good daylighting designs. It relies on Ministry of Education's regulations, but it's only for physical design features. As you can see on the screen here, that the school is has similar typology, whether it's two-story here or maybe one-story building. It always has windows on both sides with corridors on the front side, or corridor which is considered as the front side of the school classroom. And also, there's the lighting standard still in use here in Indonesia today is static metric of daylight factors. And as you can see from the image below, that the first one available is in 1991, then revised in 2001. But until today, there's no revision has been made and is still in use without revision for about 20 years now. As we have known that daylight factor is insensitive to a specific locations or climate and cannot represent direct sunlight contributions. And from the regulation, from the lighting standard available in Indonesia, it still use uniform sky. And it's been known that uniform sky is used or discovered in 1950s. It's a long time ago. So it might be obsolete to still use the daylight factors here as the metric for the lighting standard in Indonesia. Therefore, this study aims to understand the contributions of direct sunlight in existing elementary school classroom design in Indonesia, particularly by looking at some schools as a samples in Banda Sakti regions of Lok Semawe. And their finding from this study is beneficial for elementary school classroom inherited similar characteristics elsewhere in tropical region, particularly in Indonesia wide. For the method, this study used some method. The first one was survey. The survey here is purposefully for making the uh, physical object into digital objects. It's actually we are looking for physical features as input variables. That is important in this case for or maybe to affect the availability of the daylight inside classroom. And we surveyed 22 state elementary school classroom available in Banda Sakti regions of Loksmawe, and it consists of 256 classrooms. And from that 250 classroom, we have input variables of 7 input variables based on its orientations. First one, we do elevation, we do ratio, x2, x3, and you can see on screen here, to x7, we call that backshading elevation. Then afterward, we conduct the digital modeling. As you can see here on the above here, some sample objects that have been modeled digitally using Rhinoceros platform. And from this, we group 76 objects based on their orientation and window to wall ratio. And as you can see here, these orientations rules that we use here. They will use counterclockwise, and then we looking at the group orientation that have 10 objects to be further analyzed using the in the data analysis. And then for the simulation, we use the energy plus weather file for Luxmaui inside the Grasshopper and Ladybug tools. Here you can see here why Ladybug tools is used for annual sunlight exposure. Uh, Here is because we can using this Ladybug tools, it is possible for us to to consider the position of the suns in the analemma, in the real sun positions through all the year. Uh, However, there's some tools that that, that are available today, including radians and also uh, native radians or daysims. They use the sun positions that are available spread out equally in the sky patches, as you can see, as I put the dot here on the sky dome, and then they approximate it for the sun position. In this way, it might be not accurate enough to calculate for annual sunlight exposures. And another assumption was that to calculate the annual sunlight exposure, we need to make assumption that the room has no reflections or consider black. Then for the data analysis, we use correlations here, Spearman correlations, to filter which of input variables available here that is sensitive or has a parametric relations. In this case, we're looking at the how sensitive or the variables by looking at the standardized regression coefficients, or we call it SRC here. Okay, from the results here we can see that 43%, okay, more than 43% that all school classrooms available in Bandar Sakti region Husmai have suffered from the direct sunlight. And this is not a good conditions. And these conditions needs to be paid attention to, that for maybe we have to do something for to fix these situations. Therefore, uh, student performance can be improved, and also have energy saving from the school classroom in Indonesia. As we know that this typology of classroom is available widely in Indonesia. And from the three group, we have 10 objects, which is group C, F, and I. Here, we then conduct the Spearman correlation analysis. So we have at the group C, there's a moderate correlations, but again, when we conduct the sensitivity analysis using multilinear regressions, and we haven't discovered that all of the in this group there's nothing is sensitive, since the p-value of the model is more than 0.05. Then moving on to group F, that we have one moderate and one strong correlated, and when we conduct the multilinear regression for the sensitivity value, we have that X4 has moderately sensitive value with negative trend here. As you can see here, it's moving to the left, that it or has minus value. Meanwhile, for X3 here, it shows that very low sensitivity. For the sensitivity, that this shows that even it has moderate correlation, it not necessarily to be a strong sensitive, right? So then we move into group I. There's three variables, which are x2, x5, and x7 here, which has moderate correlations, and x7 have strong correlations. However, when we conduct the sensitivity analysis, that it shows that only x5 and x2 that has moderate sensitivity. So from these results, we conclude that it is found that 43% of the school classroom have suffered from excessive sunlight in existing designs. In two orientations being examined, it suggests different input variables that affect the availability of direct sunlight inside the classroom. In orientation group F, corridor shading depth hold a vital role to reduce the excessive sunlight. In orientation group I, window to wall ratio and corridor shading elevation is required a careful design attention. This study shows that specific design features are related to a particular orientation group. These are some references that we use, and thank you for your attention.